Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular scheduled board meeting for the Nampa School District. We will start with our new trustees who were elected this year. We'll start with their oath of office.
Trustee Salinas, Taylor, and Barons, please stand up. Do you swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and the laws of the state of Idaho, and to take the office of trustee of Nampa School District number 131 in Canyon County, state of Idaho, as required by law, to the best of your ability?
I do.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, ladies. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's grateful to have a full board again. This will be awesome. We will start this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Then we welcome the guests. Well, I'm sure we'll welcome the ones that come for the regular session. We're going to have an executive session here first. We'll start with the mission and vision.
The mission of the Nampa School District is to ensure high levels of achievement for every student.
And the vision?
Every student is fully engaged in extraordinary learning experiences, preparing for the successful transition to the next stage of life.
And then I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda. Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
And then I will entertain a motion to move us into executive session.
Clarification. Don't we need to do our oath of office? Oh, you did it while I was gone. Okay.
No, we did
Oh.
when you came in and stood up.
Oh, so it's done. So, okay, sorry, I'm backwards. Okay.
Nope, we're good.
I move that we enter into executive session per code 74206 1BDF. A, to consider the evaluation, dismissal, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent or public school student. B, D, to consider records that are exempt from disclosure as provided in Chapter 1, Title 74 Idaho Code. C, F, to communicate with legal counsel for the public agency to discuss the legal ramifications of and legal options for pending litigation or controversies not yet being litigated, but imminently likely to be litigated. The mere presence of legal counsel at an executive session does not satisfy this requirement.
A second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. We'll move into executive. Oh,
Vice Chair
roll
Kinney.
call vote. Aye.
Trustee Barons.
Aye.
Trustee Salinas.
Aye.
Trustee Taylor.
Aye.
Now we will move into executive session. We'll return at 6 o'clock for the regular board meeting. And we are out of our executive session and we will continue with our regular board meeting. The next opportunity we have is to organize the quorum as far as chair, vice chair, selecting our clerk, legal and such. So,
Vice Chair Jennings, point of
yes,
clarification, do we need to
Oh.
make current motions coming out of executive session now?
yes, we,
No, they're
There's-
on the action.
Got you.
oh, yes,
That's all I needed to
it's
know.
A on there.
Thank you.
So I've had an opportunity to serve as vice chair for the last year. It's been a pleasure working with the administration and Chair Kirkman. I've learned a lot, and as such, I would be willing to serve as board chair if you guys would like, but I can't make that motion.
On that note, I move, or I nominate trustee Jennings as board chair.
Second, do we need a second? No.
We do.
Okay. Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Works.
Perfect, so you will see the chair position.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving on, we will need to select a vice chair.
Does anybody desire to be vice chair?
Hey, the two of you, rock, paper, scissors.
I would be interested in being the vice chair. I would like to, learn more about the school district, what's going on. It's been very interesting to me, and I just want to continue to pursue that. So if nobody else is interested, I'll open that up.
I nominate trustee Bangs to be the vice chair.
I second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next will be the election of our board clerk. And we have Chrissy Lamont, who has served, and I don't know if I'm able to.
You,
nominate her.
you are not.
I am not.
You are
So
no longer allowed to make
I
motions.
can't, yeah, I get to be quiet, which is nice. So I'll entertain a motion for our board clerk.
Okay, I move that we appoint or reappoint Clerk Lamont as board clerk.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. And next we have our treasurer. So I will entertain a motion for our treasurer.
I move that we reappoint Randy Dewey as our treasurer.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Congrats, Randy.
Can't wait to see you later. It's my favorite time.
Okay, we will be moving on to the board calendar. Is there any discussion we have on the board calendar?
Yeah, Chair Jennings,
Yes.
I am wondering if we can keep our meetings on Tuesdays. Mondays are a very difficult day for me.
Okay,
I'm not sure if that works for anybody else. I can definitely make it work, but if it's a possibility to keep meetings on Tuesdays, I would be in, or to have meetings on Tuesdays, I would be in favor. But again, I think I can still be malleable if it's a hard pass for everybody else.
Chair Jennings, could we also consider the third week, just because it has been working very efficient for the board packet and the staff for the regular board meetings?
anybody opposed to the third Tuesday of every month?
I think that should be fine. The question that I have is around the March date as proposed. And here, doesn't that fall spring break?
It's the first day of spring
Oh, I
break.
did not
Yeah.
do that. I would also add the one thing that I did check that I need to check really quick is graduations. I made sure that it did not fall on I made sure it did not fall on the third Monday, but it looks like there would be one graduation that's falling on the third Tuesday.
And that would be in May.
Yes.
So in May, we may have a meeting on Monday instead to avoid that. Okay. And if we do we need to propose the changes in the dates right now since they're proposed dates, or
It would
how?
be best. Are you?
Okay,
So the third month Tuesday, does that in March it interferes with spring break?
it's March 16, so
So it'll be
yeah.
March 17.
And then
Yeah.
it would be May 17 instead of 18. Is that what you're
It would
proposing?
be May 18th instead of the 19th.
And what's the day in March?
Well,
It'd
I
be the
think that's
16th. Oh,
Okay,
I think the March date is more, like, it has to have is the whole week of March 16th.
That's what I
to
was
the
wondering.
20th
Yeah.
spring break.
yeah.
So-
I did not verify that one.
And,
Yeah.
well, okay, so I have a question then. So on the proposed calendar, so the May 18 is the Monday that is on here,
Oh, no. did I-
correct?
Oh, no?
but that is a Monday.
That is a
Will
Monday
you-
that we're going to move back to because there's a graduation on a Tuesday.
Okay,
Yes,
but
correct.
all the other
That's what I'm
dates-
understanding.
But all the other dates as proposed fall on Tuesdays.
No, they're all Mondays.
They're all Mondays
Well,
right
I
now.
would- If we make the motion the third Tuesday.
Then
would
those
be
will all
accepted.
switch excluding May 18th. And then we just need to talk about spring break, guys.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm following now. Thank you.
Yep.
yes.
Okay,
So it'd be best to push out March than to bring it back. So the 23rd or the 24th.
Yeah, Chair Jennings, trustees, you could either do it the second week or the fourth week. There is no difference with the administration. It'd be a little bit quicker turnaround, from the February to the March if you did it the second week of March instead of spring break week, but you could push it out as well. But then you have a quick turnaround to April. So
Would anyone be opposed to the 24th of March?
I'll be out of town, but whatever.
Well, thanks for the invite.
You said we're going to Hawaii.
It's just we.
So what's the date in March, guys? I didn't hear.
The
What-
24th would be the week after spring break, and it would be the Tuesday
And-
after spring break.
Chair Jennings, can we confirm that administration doesn't have any issue with the Tuesday to date,
The third Tuesday.
the third Tuesday?
yeah, Chair Jennings, Trustee Taylor, there is no concern on a Monday or Tuesday. I think it's whatever's best work with the board. We're used to the third week. We can make any day work on that.
Okay.
While we're discussing this, I guess I also did not verify, so I'm so sorry, is with moving this date, that would also change, that would probably help with the winter break because it was supposed to be on December 21st, but it would move it to December 15th if you, which I think that would also be helpful, correct?
Okay, so we're adopting, for reference, the third Tuesday of every month excluding March's meeting, which will be the 24th, May's, which will be the 18th, and December's, which will be the 15th. Is that correct? Okay,
May's was gonna be the what?
18th.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, Chair Jennings, I move that we set the board calendar for 2026 as follows. The third Tuesday of every month, excluding the month of March, at the month of March, the meeting will take place in the month of March on the 24th. Excluding the month of May, the meeting will take place on May 18th in the month of May, and excluding December, and the meeting will,
December
December's
automatically
fine.
gets corrected.
oh, it does, perfect, got it. Unless conflict should arise and we otherwise need to reschedule with plenty of public notice.
Second. I second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Waiting on, are we good?
Sorry, the 19th
Oh.
is Nova's graduation is all done virtual pre-recorded. If that's
And that's in
Oh,
May?
May.
So the 18th will be okay?
18th or 19th.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can go to Nova in person. I have in past years. Yeah, because they do something. I went last year,
Yep.
and I do think one of us should go.
So motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And then we will move on to selecting legal counsel. I'll entertain a motion.
I was hoping that there'd be somebody in the audience to give Brett a run for his money, but nobody's here.
And Brett did reach out and ask if we'd like him in attendance this evening.
I hope he heard me say that.
He might. I'll tell him to watch the video,
Okay.
but we did tell him, he was not needed due to the agreement.
Okay. I move to reselect the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hole as the NSD legal counsel.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
I
Okay, motion passes. Okay, that takes care of that business. We will move on to comments. We will start with trustee comments and then Clerk Lamont, would you check? And I don't think we have any public comments. We'll find out. So I'll start down here with trustee Benz.
Okay, so I just, in the spirit of full disclosure, my only comment today is that I will have my phone face up. I usually have it put away, but my son opted not to attend the board meeting tonight. So in case there's an emergency, I need to be on alert.
Yep, we'll allow that. Trustee Barnes? Vice Chair?
Thank you, I guess. Yeah, I don't, it's just been it's been a warm, busy winter. But yeah, I don't really have anything else
Very good.
today.
Very good. Yeah, we've had some good times getting through the holidays, lots of fun with family, and honored to serve with you ladies on this board, and looking forward to this next year.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate everybody that was either elected or appointed today. I'm looking forward to a great 2026. Nice to meet our newest trustee. Nice to have a full board. And yeah, I'm just very optimistic for our entire district for the 2026 year.
Trustee Salinas, anything?
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to get to know all of you and do what I can to help the Nampa School District.
Very good. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Grateful to have you. Very good. Clerk Lamont, did we have any? No comments. So we are just plugging right on along. Okay, we're moving on to the consent agenda, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion regarding the consent agenda? Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All good. Moving on to action items. So first action item is actions taken regarding to the executive session that we just held.
Okay.
I'll turn it over to trustee Taylor.
Chair Jennings, I motion to maintain employee A's employment status at 0.8 FTE and to not increase it to 1.0 as requested for the reason that there are not enough students to increase employees' workload consistent with qualifications, and scarce district funds should not be paid to an employee who is not working a full day work.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Chair Jennings, I motion to approve the retroactive placement of an employee on paid administrative leave pursuant to Idaho Code 33-513 for the period of November 20th, 2025 through December 9th, 2025 as presented.
Okay, motion's been made. Second?
A second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
But
motion.
I abstain. I was not.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Got that? Good. Okay, move on to action item B. And so it is the K through 5 elementary science curriculum adoption. Dr. Russell?
Yeah, Chair Jennings, trustees, tonight we had the opportunity to hear from Director Gomez to review the process we have for our elementary K-5 science adoption. And she'll come up, present some information. You'll see there's quite a bit of information in your board packet. Team's here to answer any questions you may have about that process. Ms. Gomez.
Okay. Chair Jennings, I'm going to give Tyler a second to pull that up. All right. So yes, we are going to discuss the elementary science curricular resource recommendation. Our committee started off being 5 parents / community members and 5 teachers. 8 members is what we finished with. 2 members did not complete the process. The process involved reviewing standards and readings to help build background knowledge around science standards and different needs in the district. They reviewed and finalized scoring rubrics. They became familiar with various curricular resources. They listened to some publisher presentations that occurred virtually, and they scored curricular resources using the rubrics. That was the process that we followed. We did put out a survey to the community and teachers to ask for input on various curricular resources to vet, and that full list is in your board packet. The 3 finalists were Generation Genius, Mystery Science, and Picture Perfect Science.
And it was 3 out of how many? Sorry.
Bree, do you remember how many? There was 11. So the rubric that the committee used to vet these resources was based on and adapted from the Idaho Department of Education and Ed Reports rubric. And they weighed the following criterion. They looked at alignment to Idaho content standards in science. They looked at the design for 3-dimensional teaching and learning, teacher and student supports, flexibility and integration, and intentional design. The committee also looked at open house feedback. We put out a survey for teachers and parents, committee members to weigh in and give their input on the finalists. Generation Genius had 94% outstanding adequate rating. Picture Perfect Science had 63% outstanding adequate rating. And Mystery Science had a rating of 100% outstanding adequate rating. And there were 17 total responses. The committee feedback, out of a possible 10 points, Generation Genius ranked 7.5. Picture Perfect Science rated 7.25, and Mystery Science rated 9.87. And then there's some detailed comments that you can find in your board packet. Are there any questions up to this point on Mystery Science or Generation Genius or Picture Perfect?
I had a question on the open house feedback. There's just not very many that respond to that. I mean, is it just an open link? Anybody can go out there, or do you send an email to all of the? How does that work?
Yeah, we sent it out through Parent Square a couple
Okay.
of times for people to weigh in. Mhm.
Was it for any K through 5 parent?
That I don't know. Did we send it out to the entire district?
It went out to me.
It went out to,
Really?
to kind of give us a
Crazy.
wider net for
Yeah.
responses. Yeah.
We had 17 responses.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. I
Yes.
think we're good.
So the action item, we presented the committee rankings. So it is the committee's recommendation, and the administration supports that also, that Mystery Science be the adopted elementary science resource.
And will this take place, will it start next year, whichever is adopted?
It would start next year. Yes. And so Bree is our K-12 elementary science specialist. If you have any questions, we can bring her up also. But the reason we picked this resource, or we went this route, was rather than do a full comprehensive science curriculum, we wanted a resource that teachers could adapt our HMH resource to, because there's a lot of reading within our HMH resource. And so this resource would help support if they're reading about like plants, for example. There's some hands-on activities or some additional resources. If you look at the committee's feedback, they like the flexibility and ease of implementation, and that there could be short 10-minute lessons, or they could turn into a multi-day, if they want to get into science experiments. And there's some kits that we can adopt as well. So the work that Bree, that's where I was starting with that. The work that Bree would do is to kind of help align some of that work to give them some guidance for how they can integrate this science resource in with our ELA resource.
Very good.
And so that will start next year, this spring probably, for implementation for next year.
We good?
That's it.
Any questions, trustees?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gomez.
I'm up again after this
Oh.
one, so I'll just stay here.
Gonna sit tight.
But yes, there's action item for approving this as a resource.
Okay. Trustees, I'll entertain a motion if there are no further questions.
I move that we approve the mystery science curriculum as adopted by the K-12 elementary science curricular resource for the Nampa School District.
Do you mean K-5?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Let me reset. Okay, I move that we approve the mystery science curriculum as the K-5 elementary science curriculum resource for the Nampa School District.
Okay. And it doesn't make a difference if it's curricular or curriculum, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're good. Thank you. Let you proceed.
So the next action item is to open the committee for our next adoption cycle. And that has to do with gradient learning and the curriculum that are associated with gradient learning. So tonight I'm going to present the fact sheet and then ask for that committee to be open. So just to review in your board packet, there's the adoption procedure. And so our first step is to do the committee selection. And so if you give us the okay to move forward with this, then we'll send out an application to the entire district asking for parents and teachers to apply to be on this committee. The content we'll be looking at is middle school math, science, and English language arts. When I came a month ago, we were also going to be looking at social studies, just 6th and 7th. But since that time, Gradient Learning has announced that there'll be an 8th grade option for social studies, but they haven't given us the name or provided additional details. And so this morning, Dr. Russell and Mr. Lebu and I met, and we decided that we would like to look at the social studies program as a whole. So we won't be vetting that one for this go around. And by the way, this is for our middle school. I didn't specify that, 6-8. So we'll be looking at illustrative math for math, open SciEd for science, and EL education for English language arts. So some information from the fact sheet is that the Nampa School District middle schools are about to begin the process of applying to partner with Gradient Learning. All NSD high schools are currently in a partnership with Gradient Learning. If approved, math will be implemented during the 26-27 school year, so next year. And then an implementation plan will be developed for when to implement the remaining curriculum. So some of our smaller programs like Nova and Union may start dabbling into them, but for our comprehensive middle schools, we'll build out a plan because there's a big learning curve for learning what that partnership entails and for learning about the platform supporting their teachers. And so we feel like it's best to do it one at a time. But we want the resources available for alternative programs to be able to access. So they'll continue to utilize currently adopted curriculum in the meantime, and then smaller programs may begin implementing those other resources sooner. Unlike a traditional process like the last one where we opened it up and had multiple publishers to vet, the approach we're taking, like we did with the high school one, is for the committee to review the curriculums individually to determine their appropriateness, alignment to standards, and suitability for NSD students and teachers. If one subject is deemed unsuitable, then the other contents will be adopted separately or independently of that. So if math says no, we can still look at science and ELA. I think it's important to share this caveat. If the district's relationship with Gradient were to cease for whatever reason, the adopted curricula would remain in place either until the current adoption cycle is completed or we develop a plan for adopting new materials. In that scenario, the district may need to look at purchasing Canvas because that's one of the things we get with the partnership of Gradient Learning is they provide a learning management system. And please stop me if you have any questions anytime. So the rationale on the fact sheet, when was the current curriculum resources adopted? It varies by curriculum. Secondary math is slated to be adopted this year. So that's where we're going to prioritize implementing that one. Have there been adjustments to the content standards since the last adoption? Yes, all of the content areas have had some updated standards, I believe in 2022. Are there digital licensing considerations with the current curriculum? No, we can still renew licenses for our adopted curriculum. They'll still be available to us. A partnership with Gradient would result in a lower cost option for curriculum and the learning management system that we would get from them. So the timeline, if approved, we would open that committee application tomorrow and we'd begin selecting NSD representatives. I would then send applications from your zones to you by email by January 30th. It's kind of a tight turnaround, but we would want your selections within a week. In February, the actual committee would be selected by the board, and then we would notify that committee and they would start meeting, and they'll meet in March, and we will make the recommendation to the board in April. So it's pretty quick. We meet weekly.
Sure.
So because we won't be adopting social studies, I'm making an adjustment to the committee. Instead of 36, that committee would be 30. 15 district representatives and then 15 parent community members. And then we would create some small groups out of that to vet those 3 areas. And so the action needed is to approve the opening of this committee. But do you have any questions about Gradient, the curriculum, the process?
Yeah, how many meetings do we anticipate for the committee?
Chair Jennings, I believe it's 5.
5, okay. And then
It's 5, yeah.
so we currently have Power School for the parent side of things. Does Gradient offer a different technology, or will parents still be using Power School along with?
We
the
would
Gradient?
still keep Power School.
Okay.
But there is a grading component where teachers input their grades. And then the way one of the schools does it is that they have teachers input their grades into Power School. But the hope is eventually that, and this would be a multi-year process, that you would have one place to look at. So if you have kids in the district, sometimes you might have teachers that have Otis or Teams or a little bit of Canvas. But the goal is to eventually get to where parents have one place to go to for all of their things.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit of confusion with transfer kids. They go to a different school and they're getting, having
At
to
the
look
high
different
school, that's-
places
yes.
to find these things. So.
We
Is
want to give teachers some time to adjust to that and move stuff that they've built out in Otis over to Canvas. So it would take some time, but that's the goal because it is hard for parents to go multiple places to look for kids' results.
And Canvas was Summit.
Canvas, so Summit I think they had a different learning platform before,
Is it,
but yes, that's what has transitioned from
okay,
Summit to Gradient Learning.
okay. So is it Columbia that's on the different input system still? Is it a high school? Am
Well,
I-
right now, all the high schools have Odell, they have ELA, so they're all accessing that through the Canvas platform. And then some schools have worked towards moving or trying math. But yes, right now, if you were to go to like Nampa High, you might have some teachers doing things in Teams or Otis and Canvas.
Trustees, any other questions?
Chair Jennings, and just so that the trustees are aware, one of the advantages as well, besides trying to get us all on the same page so it's easier for parents also, is Canvas is one of the largest that's used for university or colleges. So it does kind of create the platform so our students can get accustomed to that and that know what that LMS is as they move into post-secondary ed. So there is some nice connection to that for our college-bound kids or university-bound kids.
Chair Jennings, I would share that another advantage that we've seen is that Gradient Learning provides weekly support to our administrators on the implementation side of things. And so adopting curriculum is a big task, but where the rubber meets the road is how that's implemented. And so providing support to admin with giving guidance on learning walkthroughs, or here's where we should be with implementing this curriculum, and then just training around that curriculum is a big thing for us also.
Good working partner.
Mhm.
Very, very good. Awesome. Okay, well, if there's no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the committee application process begin as outlined in policy 2520 to vet curricula available through the partnership with Gradient Learning.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, motion passes.
Trustee Jennings,
Yes.
I will throw out that I'm not sure if any other trustees besides myself received a Gradient Learning presentation. But I will say that it was quite eye-opening and very informative. And so I might suggest that any of our new trustees request that because it is such a vast tool that it really does help when it comes to trying to adopt it throughout the district, to have
You're-
that back
You're
in knowledge.
referencing the tour that we took at Columbia?
Yes,
Okay,
and I
very good.
think, okay, so I think the two of us have had one, but it's pretty in-depth. I think it's really helpful, and I think it makes the process go a lot faster because it talks about how we align things with state law, and
Yeah.
so
I
I'm just throwing that out there as food for thought.
No, I agree completely. Okay, we'll be moving on to our information items. So I'll turn the time over to Dr. Russell.
Chair Jennings, trustees, you're going to start going through our information items. The first one has to do with the trustee code of ethics, which I believe is in your board packets for you to review and sign. Maybe I'll actually do it for you. Any questions that you have on that we can help answer?
Kind of takes the fun out of it, but
Pretty self-explanatory.
I saw that there was still no pay.
Still no pay.
Fine,
All right.
I guess I'll just be here for
we
free.
have them all passing down.
I'll gather them at the end of the video.
Very good.
All
I
right.
guess we all agree.
Next information item we have on our agenda is our facilities update. And Mr. Stuffer is not here this evening, but just wanted to share with you, you'll see some things in our board packet. We are gearing up to have some action items available for the February meeting. There are several things that the district's looking at doing as far as upgrading its facilities. We have some roof bids that are going to be out that will be coming in for trustees to look at. One around West and Central. Our parking lot for our bus facilities, likely we'll have a bid in for that. And then we're also looking at developing a professional development center for our teaching staff over at West. We'll bring some information around that and likely we'll have a bid there. So you'll see some more information upcoming in the February packet there. Other than that, you'll see there's some information there around the transition house. That's a small house that's right over there. That is being finalized. And so we were looking at putting that up for sale, and we think we'll have information ready for the board in February to complete the sale of that. So other than that, all facilities is going well. We do have a good amount of deferred maintenance that I think it's important for the public to know. And if you remember 4 years ago or so, we had discussed a bonding. And during that process, we went through and did a thorough evaluation of all of our buildings and realized that we have a lot of deferred maintenance. That time was already 4 years ago. And so we have put some money into our schools, but the amount of maintenance that we need for our schools continues to increase. And so in the upcoming board meetings, we'll likely update the trustees and the public about where we are with some of our deferred maintenance. We do have some very good assets to be able to help address that with some of the money that the state has given us. But every month that goes on, the buildings require more and more maintenance to keep them up. And we have a large portfolio of buildings. So just want to make you aware of that. And we'll talk through what those needs are and maybe discuss some action steps and plans as we move forward and kind of how to maintain those. Any questions on maintenance I can try to answer while Mr. Starver's not here?
You try to wing it. I think we're good.
Okay.
Proceed, sir.
All right. Next item you'll see in your agenda there has to do with our monthly enrollment. And again, it's a report that you'll see every month. And if you have any questions on that, I'm happy to answer that. Otherwise, it's typical what you'll see.
So I just have a question for
Chair Taylor.
for the sake of it piqued my curiosity today. How are these on the projected numbers from when we closed schools?
Chair Taylor, Chair Jennings, Trustee Taylor.
It's fine. It's fine.
We've all been called worse.
We've all been called worse. Yes.
Yeah, but for the most part, they are exactly kind of where we thought they would be, with our schools around the 70-80% occupancy. You'll see that in the elementary enrollments. You'll see percentage full. There are a couple that are a little bit smaller. I think Wahi Elementary is at only 64-65%. That's a little lower than we anticipated. We thought that would be a little higher. You'll see our middle schools and our high schools occupancy there is right kind of where we thought it would be. It is a little lower now because we're in our second year after redrawing boundaries and we lost students again. So the trend is when we redrew boundaries, we thought we'd be at a certain number where we were last year, but we lost a few more students this past year. And if that trend continues, to lose students, we'll be back to where we were similar, where some schools will be at 50% capacity, 60% capacity, and then we'll have to address it at that point again. Now, our hope is at some point we'll level out. We did do an enrollment projection, and we did look at our birth rates. We do receive a certain percentage of every 58% of births in Nampa tend to come to the Nampa School District. That's kind of our history. And we had seen a decline in birth rate for a lot of years, but after COVID, we have seen an increase. And so we anticipate seeing an increase of students come here in the next couple of years. Since COVID is now already 5-6 years out, that should be around kindergarten age. So we're really watching that kindergarten enrollment very closely. The last couple of years have been right around 840, 850. We're hoping that next fall, we'll watch it carefully, that it might be stay the same or increase a little. So we should know in another year or two whether those COVID births are actually going to come into our system, and we'll start seeing an increase with that. But currently right now, what our system is, we're seeing larger classes of seniors graduate and smaller cohorts of kindergarten coming in, which is kind of why we're seeing that decline. And we're actually seeing that across the state. A lot of school districts are in a very similar spot that we are, with larger high school graduations and smaller kindergarten cohorts.
And one more just to, like a little quill feather, because I feel like I'll need to know later and I'll be like, why didn't I ask then? On Union, just because it's from time to time, a suggested placement school, it says here that we're only 33% full, but isn't that number skewed? Like when I look at that, doesn't that mean that right, based on teacher, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Walk me
Yeah.
through that just so I can keep it in my mind for all of 2026, maybe
Yeah.
some of 27.
Chair Jennings, Trustee Taylor, very good question. It does look like, well, Union's got plenty of space, but that just has to do with the occupancy, which the building they're in. They are in the old West Junior High, which does have an occupancy for 1,000. But Union is, that building is also split with Nampa Academy.
Right.
And so we're using two sides of that building. So it is more than 33%. But that's why that number looks so low, just because it's
Skewed.
it's skewed in the physical size of the building it's in.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Any other questions, trustees? Okay, moving on.
All right, trustees, our last item for the night has to do with our finance and treasury report, and we're gonna have Mr. Dewey, our treasurer, come and share some information about where we are in the budget, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
A new appointed treasurer.
Yes.
I thought maybe you added interpretive dance to your show.
I did not,
For
unfortunately.
2026.
Although I do like the new chair and how fast you get through meetings.
Hey,
So
we're gonna
this
knock
is-
these things
if
out.
this is
This is
any,
all about
and you
efficiency.
actually got to me this time. So normally
Yeah.
this worked out pretty good for me today, I
Insane.
guess. Yeah.
Don't
So
jinx us.
whole new world. Okay. You want to go to the next one, please? All right. I just kind of want to give you guys a heads up of where we are in the budget. We're still working through it. Unit numbers from day one. Remember, it's the first day of school to the first Friday of November. So obviously that's already done. So we got a lot of those, all those numbers and that kind of stuff, worked through it and had to go through a lot of other things to make sure our numbers were good to the state. Remember, that is basically our biggest one that pays for our what's called our salary-based apportionment. That really is our teacher and our class and our classified people, and that one pays for a majority of our costs. So it's a big deal if we get that one right. So and then it's also used for some other special distribution stuff that's out there as well, for like our money for tech, our money for other things and that kind of stuff. So it's really an important number that we work with right now. Go to the next one. All right. So I just kind of wanted to show you the difference between last year and this year. We did anticipate a reduction. So let's say it as it is. We did anticipate a reduction. We anticipated, I think, a budget of 595. Right now we're sitting at roughly around 590, which isn't good. We had a little bit more loss than we thought, and you can see those areas are where we're at right now, and see the big area you can kind of see is we've got a big decline right there from 1 to 3. And then we got a little bump, and then it basically starts declining again down the road. So those are things that we're working on to try to figure out how do we deal with that. I mean, it's exactly like Superintendent Russell said, of, okay, we're looking at everything we have to see to make sure we're counting people correctly and get everything finalized the way it needs to be in order to have the appropriate FTE for all those all those people. So if you want to go to the next one.
And quickly, these are the
Yep.
numbers that
Go back
are,
real quick.
yeah, sorry, I'll make it
You're
real
all
fast. But these are factored in with we had a couple of months ago, we had some concern of things that were missing, but this,
Yeah,
This
so our
accounts for
tech
them?
team did a fantastic job and went through the numbers, scoured the numbers. We had plenty of meetings associated with it. We found some anomalies that we had that needed to be repaired, and then some different philosophies that somehow changed this year that weren't last year. So we had to go back to some of those old philosophies and that, which really just kind of helped get everything back up to where we had anticipated to be.
Chair Jennings, trustees, so just an example, at one of our alternative schools, we started taking attendance every period to make sure that the students were there. Well, some of those students do go on and they leave for internships. And so they weren't there in some periods because they were at an internship, but we were marking them absent when we could have been marking them present. So there's just that kind of thing and going through and making sure that we're on the same page when we mark our absences and things like that. Because of this, we are going to review all of our practices when it comes to attendance across our high schools and across all alternative programs, across our summer schools, so that we don't have to go through and scour numbers again, because it takes a lot of effort on our tech team to go through that. And they did do a remarkable job. So I want to commend them for spending a lot of hours on digging through that. But that's an example of what Mr. Dew was talking about.
And one of the biggest things we're seeing too in our secondary is in our high schools is the ability to have open periods and what that's doing. So you might show 1,300 kids in your school, but whether or not all those kids are in classes or assigned to classes and all that kind of stuff is really what's hitting us as well. So we look at enrollment at one side, but when you look at ADA and how it really affects us, that number goes down significantly. So we're looking through a lot of those different things to make sure that we've got kids assigned, and we've got that we basically are meeting at least our minimum to get our state money for those kids that are enrolled in our schools. So those are big picture items that we're working through, and we'll have more involved for probably next year on that as well. So want to go to the next one? So some additional budget concerns. Like I said, we had 595 units is what we anticipated, about 4.87 down. The other areas you look at, we have to always worry about our instructional average and our pupil services average. Remember, our instructional is our teachers, our pupil services are like our counselors, our nurses, and those type of things. It's not necessarily a bad thing that those numbers are lower. What that means is we've got lower tenure staff that we're hiring, if that makes sense. So it kind of goes hand in hand, especially since we switched this year to be a little bit more aligned in the career ladder. Once we get aligned to the career ladder, it actually will go directly hand in hand, except, and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of our goal, is to make sure that we don't have a lot of risk. The issue is if you get off a couple $100 on that instructional average with the number of teachers we have, before you know, that's $200,000-$300,000 difference. So it just in the change of this, so your hope is on the flip side that we have that much difference in the actual pay as well. So that's kind of what we're working on right now. Right now, as far as I can look at, and I looked at it again today, we're fine in our budgets. So we think we're good there, but it definitely is. It's going to be a tight year, a little bit tighter than I wanted to be. We're still looking at a little bit of a decline all the way down. But we're working through it to see exactly what needs to happen. The concern I have is this was one of the first years we came into the year without having a balanced budget. We had actually dipped into the fund balance to be able to use it. And so if we're down on revenues, but our expenses are kind of at budget, that doesn't bode well for us as much as we would want. Usually we can actually make up a lot of budget by, 1 or 2%. When you have $100 million budget, 1% change is $1 million, right? So we're hoping that towards the end, we'll be able to see some of those numbers come back up, and we'll be okay. But our budgeting is going to be a little bit tighter next year, depending on what some of the stuff is with the legislators. So we'll have to, make sure we're taking a lot of this stuff into consideration that we're seeing now, and so we can be ready for it in the future. So if you want to go to the next one. All right. I know there's a lot of stuff on this slide, but I just kind of wanted to give you that number there. And I believe that number in the bottom corner is almost $900,000. Is that what that says right there? Yeah. So yeah, my old eyes are getting me there. So it's not a good number that we like to see. Honestly, it's one of those that if we are on budget, that would be zero. But a lot of that, if you start looking at where we are in terms of what we've gone down, each unit is quite a bit of money when you're talking about almost 5 units at about $140,000 to $150,000 a unit, plus what it does to us in our benefits apportionment and our discretionary as well. So that's kind of what we're wrestling with right now. And we have meetings going forward of what does that truly mean for operations? What does that truly mean? The issue that I see, as well as when you start looking at our best 28 weeks, which is the next one we're having to deal with, which gets us our operational and our healthcare funding. Our facilities aren't getting smaller, other than we've tried to get rid of a few, but our costs are going up, but we're just getting less money from the state. So we've got to start to learn how to right size that and start figuring out how to be a little bit more lean in some areas. So that's what we're working with right now. So go for the next one. All right. So overall, it says a big number, $1 million, but we're still working on that to make sure we can make up some of those other areas. The one number we don't have yet is that transportation number. We don't know what that's going to be yet. Honestly, we just barely got it finalized. We're not really late on that. There was a trouble with the system, and so they were trying to get some stuff fixed from some of that. So hopefully we'll know some of those numbers here soon to be able to give you a little bit more update here soon. The problem with this operational projection is, again, we don't actually have a finalized number till July. So after the fiscal year is done is when I finally get a finalized number. We have a pretty good number starting around April or May, but still by then the year's pretty much done. And our contracts are done, everything's done. So it's really just riding out, and hopefully it doesn't get too bad for us. And then we just kind of go from there. The other bad part about it is, you notice from last year to this year, that distribution factor didn't change. So that's the other side that hits us. I mean, it really, that hurt us hard, where we're already going down in units and we didn't get any operational increases. Those are things that we'll be taking into consideration in the future. All right. Next steps. I definitely want to tell trustee, to panic a lot. Just kidding. I'm definitely not doing that. So we need to be aware of where we are. This is not a spot where I'd like to be. I'd rather be up here saying, hey, we got money and things are going to go into the year pretty good. For districts that are increasing in enrollment, that works really well for them, but most districts in the state are actually decreasing. So that's most of the things that we're dealing with as a whole across district, is how do we actually deal with this? Because we grew fast and now we're slowly declining. And so little by little, we've just got to downsize, right size, do all that kind of stuff. But it still makes it hard. Our power school isn't getting any cheaper. Our Infinite Visions with our accounting software isn't getting any cheaper. Our Microsoft's not getting any cheaper. And those are operational things that we deal with. And I think Idaho Power is raising our rates as well. So maybe we'll get a whole bunch of windmills or something, right?
They're raising ours too in the residential. So they're raising ours too in the residential sphere.
Yes, they are. So it's hitting us on, but
Yeah.
we're all seeing it. And it's just a matter of now where can we make sure to budget appropriately and go from there. We are trying to find savings where we can. But a lot of things were already locked in. So it's just a matter of just holding off on spending on big items that aren't necessary operationally. Construction or any kind of maintenance on that, it's a different funding. So those are things that don't really help us. Like we can't go in and say we're not going to do this big project over here because that's already that funding. It doesn't help our operation any. This is really, do we try to shut off the lights a little bit more type of thing to help in power and gas and that kind of thing. And so the nice thing for us this year is that it has been pretty warm winter.
Yeah.
So we have not used a lot of gas for our heat. So that does help us a little bit. And then we had a pretty tame summer as well, where we didn't have a really hot days where we had to run a lot of electricity. So that kind of helps us in that world as well. So hopefully when it comes out to March, April, May, that we don't have these blistering 90-degree days where we're going to have to run a lot of AC, because that's where it really hits us a lot. So those are the things that we're looking at to try to, mitigate what we have right now. So, and we still have reserves, guys. So it's not in the world. I'd rather have a lot more reserves going into this, because I do believe there's going to be more to come in the future. I think we're at the tipping point of our state and what's going to happen there, but we'll find out a little bit more in the legislative that just started now. So you have anything else? I think that's it. So today's doom and gloom with the very last thing in the end before, but we are looking on it. It's not that we are, it's our head in the cloud or anything like that, but it's definitely things that we are meeting about regularly to make sure that we're aware of where we are. I think next year is a little bit more worrisome to me, depending on what's happening, especially with the governor, and legislature not necessarily on the same page with some things, and how our deficits and what's happening with Idaho's numbers right now. So those are things that hopefully we'll see soon, and then we'll be able to bring that budget to you guys and see exactly what we need to do. So.
Any questions, trustees?
Did we place some of that loss with vouchers?
I would like to say it hasn't really affected us yet, because most of those places that are around us where vouchers kids are already there, if that makes sense. They haven't expanded that I know of. I have been seeing a lot of ads for a lot of private school, like homeschool type voucher things and in that, but reality is the vouchers literally just came on board this month. So I don't think they're leaving now to go to those areas. And so
So do we anticipate it may hurt us down the road?
I would think we'd be naive to think that we're not going to see it around here. I do. Me personally, I see it more similar to what happened in COVID, where we lost a lot of kids and they went to like an online homeschool. I see a lot of those coming in, which then those are the areas that I a little worry about. I know I know Nampa Christian's trying to expand as well. I think they're growing as well, but that's kind of why we're trying to be innovative, I think, with some of the new programs we're having in that. I still think one of the things that draws us is we have really good sports programs, really good activity programs that like to bring a lot of these kids back. So we do see some kids coming back in the middle school, high school areas to be able to be in our bands, to be in on our choirs, to be in our football teams and basketball teams and that kind of stuff. So that will help us to retain for sure.
And then when we lose in sped like we did, does that hit us more from the dollar standpoint?
Sped is actually one of our worst areas right now. It's a very dollar intensive thing that we have to deal with by law.
That's why I'm just wondering.
And we want to. I mean, we would never
No, I
want to
know
not.
we do. I'm just wondering if that's
Yeah.
what's giving us $1 million number. I mean, nobody likes to see a budget off by
Yeah, so
$1
our
million.
sped numbers. So
I mean, I'm just
most of
throwing
our
it out
numbers
there.
are off right now because we have less kids.
Yeah, I saw
But the
that.
problem is our percentage of how much we have in sped versus our regular population has actually increased.
Yep.
So we have more needs now in our sped population than we have in the past. So that actually costs us more money because I have more staff. I have more. I mean, just not too long ago, we had to hire another staff person to go and follow a child around to make sure that they were doing the right thing, right? So those type of things happen on our special ed
And then they throw our
population quite
budget
a
off
bit.
even more.
And we're already tapped out on most of our other stuff that we have. The other worry I have in that is that we rely a lot on Medicaid billing as well. State of Idaho is already trying to reduce how many people are eligible with Medicaid billing in the federal government. So at that point in time, that's also going to reduce how many kids we can bill for Medicaid, which then also hits our revenue as well. So it's kind of a double-edged sword with special education. It's one that they're trying to work on the state level. The governor's tried to put a little small $5 million out there. The problem is it wouldn't come to us. It's really more for the small districts that can't even get some of the people that we have. We at least have some ability to get, but they really don't. So I think that money will go to them instead of us.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any others?
No.
Okay, Dr. Russell?
That is all, Chairman Jennings, we have for information reports.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dewey.
Chair Jenny, possible items or for board consideration, will we get on top, maybe designate someone to be the legislative rep or see if anyone's interested?
Yes. So we have, that's down the hill. No.
No,
This is for the-
it is in front of you. It is 2 meetings a month on Thursdays. And ISBA is just asking of one. I sent an email out earlier today that had the date. They'll send once we let them notify them that we've selected this and they'll do a Zoom meeting on the second and fourth Thursday of every month, just to update everyone on what's going on and seek any information that from trustees that are going to be that legislative rep for districts. And so I don't know if anyone's interested, and we can just designate someone if they are.
And so it looks like they've got 5 meetings. So January the 29th, February the 12th, February the 26th, March the 12th, and March the 26th. Are any of the trustees interested in attending this?
I mean, I don't have much time, but this is so important, you guys. We need money.
It is important.
So
If you have one, if it doesn't make one person, they could always do like an email update, or
it
I
is
would even
virtual.
draft, it is virtual, it's gonna be, they said they're estimating about an hour for each meeting. And then.
And what, are they gonna record it?
I think, let me see my email, I think they did. I asked, hold on, I can't remember, I have to look at the email I sent out earlier today.
Can I have an admin member with me?
I didn't ask any of those questions. The meetings will be recorded and shared with, so if you can't attend, they will share the recordings.
Okay. Fine.
You're donating 5 more hours of your life.
No, I know, but just it's 5 meetings and I wonder how important this really is, you guys. And if they're gonna record them, I mean, I can watch them whenever, but I would really like to see if I can have an admin. How often do you get to talk or do you get these updates, Dr. Russell? Like, do you have a monthly 5 meetings where they talk to you about laws?
Chair Jennings, Trustee Taylor, we get a weekly update from ISBA on what's happening in the state legislature. I also talk with our lobbyist. I have them on speed dial. And then we meet as superintendents throughout the legislative session as well to discuss what's going on. So I have a pretty general good idea. I think what ISBA is trying to do is be more proactive in informing trustees about what's coming down and what possibly could happen, considering the budget concerns that the state is.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
thinking.
believe they're also gonna be seeking feedback from trustees, though I do know when I did ask that question, they didn't say no, but they said they were gonna look into if like, because I said, can myself or admin sit in with them and then report back? And they said that they were really seeking, this was the intent to be for the board members. But they didn't technically say no, but I feel like.
Dr.
they were gonna
Russell,
get back to me.
How helpful do you feel like these meetings will be? How interested are you in this initiative?
Well, Chair Jennings, Trustee Taylor, I think it's a good thing to be updated about what is occurring at the legislature and how some decisions impact us, both on a legislative level and financial level. So the fact that it's virtual and an hour, I guess I'd have to see an actual meeting to see how helpful it is, but I do think it's nice that they're actually providing and trying to be a little bit more intentional about getting information out to their constituents because they do work for trustees around the state.
10 to 15 hours a month. Okay, if nobody's gonna volunteer, I'm gonna volunteer.
If you aren't available to do it, is there a trustee that would like to try to also like maybe sit into that meeting?
Go ahead.
I'm not suggesting, I
Yeah.
just feel like everyone's like.
I'm
this is so
looking
important for
straight
me.
at Carla.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to take the whole thing on,
But
but
we'll share it.
we can, I don't mind sharing it, yeah.
Everybody's okay with that?
Yes. So can you designate both of us?
I'm going to try, I'm gonna put that in our minutes and then I'll reach out to them tomorrow and get the information for you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
And if I don't hear back from them for tomorrow, I'll at least update you, but as soon as I hear back, that's when I'll email you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you both.
And just a question or suggestion for next, if they're planning to do this regularly, like every year, the middle of the day might be a challenging time.
Well, it's recorded.
Right, but if you're supposed to sit in so that if you have questions.
Well, I guess I didn't think of that. It doesn't
I
mean it's
did
not
think
interactive.
that Everyone has jobs and that this is a volunteer position. So I will reiterate that just because I think they've heard that a lot over this. So I think it'll be good. I'll let them know that as well.
All right, good point.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's done. Okay.
Any other possible agenda items for next month? I think we got out of here. We're gonna get out of here pretty early, but I don't think we'll be as lucky next month because we'll have a pretty busy
Please don't. speak out of
agenda.
our lives.
But we're gonna do what we can do.
Thank you.
We'll do what we can do. So any other suggestions, items? No? Dr. Russell?
Chair Jennings, I don't believe so. Some of the items I think we'll discuss and as we plan, but I don't think there's anything off the top of my head that we need to talk to right now.
Okay, very good. Well, then with that, we'll conclude the meeting. Meeting's adjourned.